I'm Sheila. Welcome to the next chapter of Handbook for the New Paradigm, Volume 2. We are on session number 36. If you are following along with me in the book, I'm on page 231. Within these messages is embedded the psychological changes of heart and mind that are required to maintain the focus of the powerful aspects of experience constitute the human evolving within the successive steps of its journey. The focused human awareness can be observed as a matrix or pattern of energy, for that is what each is in reality. Each cell contains an electric charge. Therefore, if the charges are observed, they would appear as a pattern of lights surrounded by a finer thought energy that is emitted as these pass outward from the being. Since all of creation in its basic form, since all of creation in its basic form, once beyond pure potentiality, is thought, and thought thinks then it may be concluded that the totality of the human thinks. Every cell of the human body thinks. Ooh, this explains why when I direct my thoughts to certain places in my body, I get answers and why we are able to affect healing change within our bodies. Back to the book here. Yeah, every cell of the human body thinks. It is how feeling is experienced. It is how a deep realization can cause what you call goosebumps to arise on the body. For the entirety of the body has agreed simultaneously on a new concept of truth. Now, you don't have to be in the spiritual or anything else to know this. Tucker Carlson has talked about this very thing in several of his speeches of late. He actually said, when you hear a truth, and he said, not to get supernatural, but it is a supernatural thing, you feel it in your body. And I know that's so. For me, anyway. Let's put it that way. So I'm going to read that again. It is how feeling is experienced. It is how a deep realization can cause what you call goosebumps to arise on the body. For the entirety of the body has agreed simultaneously on a new concept of truth. That is what sends some to a doctor, because there is a knowingness from within the body that has been emitted from the body cells into the finer thought energies that surround the body. And the conscious mind has opened to receive the information. The thought function is not confined to the brain. It is the totality of the human that participates in the thinking process. Feeling is a combination of thought processes by the cells of the body utilizing the pathways of the nervous system as you use telephone lines. But just as you receive TV and cellular phone messages without the benefit of wires, so also the body has similar and far more refined capabilities. What is called intuition is an illustration of this more refined ability. It is a knowingness that takes place at a cellular level. and registers in the awareness at varying degrees of understanding, depending on the belief system of the individual. The brain is designed to participate in a multitude of processes. It houses the most vulnerable and finely tuned of the endocrine glands. The precious secretions of the pituitary and pineal glands are the drivers of the human body mind awareness. The brain is the switching station for the receiving and transmitting of the thinking process. The combined thought process of the body wholeness is gathered and focused through the brain mechanism that it may be exchanged between humans. However, it must pass through the belief system stored in the finer energies that surround the body and hold the belief patterns of not only the individual experiences, but also contains the norms of the experience and belief patterns of the various levels of experience of the entire planet. Now, I've said that many times that we are each uniquely separate only because of every experience we've had in this physical vessel. And that acts as a filter mechanism for what you understand. Has everything to do with what you've been taught, what you believe, what you've subjected yourself to, all of those things. One function of the brain is to register and read that information upon request. Thus, when certain parts of the brain are stimulated, it reads not itself, but the stored data that is within the appropriate surrounding fine energy. Each human brings its entire history of existence with it, stored in this incredibly intelligent energy that surrounds it. This then explains one reason that humanity on this planet cannot enter the higher dimensions as it is now, for those beings are able to read the finer surrounding energy and know all there is to know about each one, every thought and intention. This is the source of what you call telepathy, which is really picking up right now, I gotta say. How is this possible? It is the degree of activity of those two glands held within the brain, the pituitary and the pineal. That is the key to what you call, quote, spiritual progress. The protection of these glands has been provided for by what is called the blood-brain barrier. Only very tiny molecules are able to pass through this barrier. Unfortunately for humanity at this time, crossing this barrier is now possible. Fortunately, there are those individuals who, upon learning this, are devoting great effort to get information out to make as many as possible aware. It is not only what is eaten, but also what is put on the body for cleanliness and other reasons that now contain destructive molecules that can and do cross that blood-brain barrier. These are causing great damage to the human brain as well as the rest of the body, which I got to say gives a whole new meaning and reason as to why I stopped using deodorant and things like that and started making my own. And so that I know what's in it. For personal protection and the protection of the generations of the future, each messenger must become aware of these dangers and strive to find the safest available alternatives for themselves as well as to carry the message to others. There are alternatives available, but it will require effort to search them out. It is important to know and to read what is within each before buying. Boy, I tell you, I used to have my great grandmother used to read every label in the grocery store, and I was like, "Come on, Grandma, it would be on the shelf if you weren't allowed to, if it wasn't bad, if it was bad for you." Oh, how I know better now. Of course, I was only in my teens then, so it will be time better spent than in front of the propaganda tube, which is true. Again, the focus is on the chaos rather than the goal. But the goal is of no benefit if there are not humans in wholeness to bring forth and enjoy the manifestation of the new paradigm of existence. Thus, it is important that certain awarenesses be made, particularly known. There is methodology and development that allows for the return of damaged DNA to wholeness without man made chemicals that are now being developed for that purpose. Be, I can't get over that synchronicity. Just in case you're wondering, I'm reading this book to myself at the same time as I'm sharing it with you. Beware of man made intervention at these early stages. Nature has provided even this process for the preservation of the human wholeness, the human in wholeness. There are indeed safeguards to protect humanity from self destruction if it is studied within nature, rather than pursuing the deliberately distorted guidance now being provided to the planners of enslavement. Though much is done in the competition/greed mode, it is underlain by the intentional provision of information that serves the enslavement purpose. Each committed and focused member of the New Paradigm Project must practice discernment as the awareness of the picture begins as an outline and infills with information without becoming lost in the enormity and detail of the opposition's plan. It must be held in the background while the focus remains in place on the desired new paradigm. There will be quite naturally perusals through curiosity into the activities and plans of the Dark Ones, but these must be kept in perspective. The new paradigm must be held at the forefront of the focused awareness in order that it may manifest into its intended blessing. That's the end of number 36, and I'll be right back with number 37. Be well, my friends.